Thank you. So apologies for not having video. I ended up traveling across the country and don't have very good cell phone service, so I'm preserving any bandwidth to be able to see what you guys can share with me in your videos. So I'm in northern Quebec right now, trying to work my way back to Vermont. Um, the South Huron Conservation Commission is relatively young. It's I think we're in our third year. And South Hero has a very strong um, land trust, effective, mature, great leadership. So there was some question when the Conservation Commission was founded is how we interact. And being a municipal entity, really it's the core of some initial work on a natural resource inventory in collaboration with the South Hero Land Trust and then advising on other conservation efforts or working with the town plan revisions and things like that. In any event, we had heard through Jens when we started how making things fun and engaging and exciting was the key thing to get residents involved and build the momentum with the Conservation Commission. So Bridget Butler, who was our early chair, and Bob Farvo, who really started and spearheaded a lot of the work, applied for the grant for this kestrel nest building project. I think there was some connection with Jim Armbruster down at Vins, and I think mentioned to Bridget that there wasn't a lot of good data on kestrels, although we know they're in decline up in the islands. And so we decided to pursue this as an initial project to engage the community. So I think we started in the very first year, sort of transitioned winter into spring, got a few nest boxes constructed and up. And then this spring, with the funds of the grant and also some funds from town, we had 26 people show up at the Folsom Community School and had this multi-generational nest building event. And it was great. And then they were mounted within a week or so afterwards. The results weren't great. I think there were only 2 nests that fledged a kestrel. Some were outcompeted by starlings and other, and some were reluctant to nudge those invaders out of the kestrel boxes. Others just let things go. So we're hopeful that this continuing project, sort of citizen science project, will carry on. We did it at the school, and there was a science teacher at the school who adopted one with the students. So we're hoping the students will be annually engaged to go out and inspect and prep the project. It's in behind the Folsom Community Center. And is remarkable. I never imagined we'd get that many people or build that many boxes. We decided that we weren't going to limit it just to South Hero, that we invited people in adjoining towns. And so we had a few in Alburgh, some in Grand Isle, but I think the majority were in South Hero. So that was really great, and we're excited that it's a continuing project. We had hoped that we would have some sort of more favorable results to report and get people engaged about, but we'll just keep working on it. South Hero, we've had some struggles with commission members, as I've heard and we hear it again today, in recruitment and engagement of residents. And I think we're going to just continue to, as we heard from Jamie, a survey and outreach. It's always challenging. We try to get people to meetings and have yummy goodies and things like that. But our most success has been collaborative outreach events like the Kestrel demonstration project that was at our local library, which is an amazing resource. And recently, the town was participating with ARPA and BIL funding to look at a parcel of land for community wastewater. And the town ended up acquiring a significant parcel, and there's it was previously subdivided. There's some potential developers coming in to do a couple pieces. Community housing, things like that are some of the ideas for it. But mostly it was just to secure a place that had the community wastewater capacity. Two of the parcels of I think it's a 7 or 8 parcel, 70 something acres, and to the largest tracts aren't developable. And they're adjacent conserved land, which is run by Pegasus Farms up in South Hero, the old Landon farm. And so we're exploring now a designation of that undevelopable parcel as a town forest, which is uniquely within the sort of parameters of what a typical conservation commission might be involved in. So we're hoping that that new project will create engagement and connectivity. We'll be having people, we're going to mow some trails and get people out after the county forester, Charlie Hancock, comes and provides us with an initial assessment and inventory and the beginnings of a draft management plan for us to engage people about what do you want to do with this parcel that's now owned by the town and has some remarkable attributes. Trail connectivity to other existing trails that have been developed throughout the town, habitat. A big part of it is a wetland. There's some interesting historical tree plantings that were there back in the day, I think back in the CCC days. It's also sort of the headwaters of the only like non-intermittent stream on the island that I'm aware of. And so it's got some interesting, unique qualities, and we're hopeful that that's the next opportunity of engagement of residents. And we have a lot of seasonality in South Hero, folks that come from other places and have a home on the lake or in town. And so trying to bridge that sort of more year-round residents with the seasonal residents is also a bit of a challenge in getting consistent engagement. But we're open to ideas, and if anybody has any solutions that they've come up with, we'd love to hear about them.
Awesome.
If everybody has any questions, I wanted to be quick and make time for the smart people in the room at VINS and
Great.
let Jim go for it.
Well, I'll just, before we hand it over to Jim, thanks so much, Mark, for calling in from the road. I know you're sort of in the midst of a travel. Really awesome to hear about the Kestrel project, and know we'll hear more from Jim about that in just a moment. But we did have a question in the chat, sort of someone asking about tactics to get commission members engaged in projects sort of outside of monthly meetings. And if you had any reflections, Mark, it looks like you had great turnout for the Kestrel Box event. And if you had any tips or ideas about sort of how to get commission members kind of engaged in some projects outside of commission meetings.
Yeah, so those sort of participatory events seem to work great. There's a lot of planning and the coordination that has to happen, and that takes the work of the monthly meetings in between. We don't get great public attendance at our monthly meetings. It's pretty much members, and once in a while someone from the select board or someone else who has a particular interest in something we're talking about. So we're still trying to figure out whether we should have monthly meetings or our regular meetings that have a a special guest or something that is it's sort of like this, beyond the regular business part of the meetings, that we have someone coming to give a presentation. And we were doing it at the library. It's just a nicer facility than our town hall. And I think we're going to try to go back to that. There's always some question with these meetings as whether we really need to be at the town hall where all of the municipal meetings are. And I feel like We should be outside sometimes. We've had one meeting was with Charlie and invited the entire town. Let's do a walk of the property, just the very first assessment. And I'm all about field trips.
Field trips always get folks engaged and outside. So that's great. Great to hear, and encourage folks in the chat to share other ideas that you might have about this. And just wrapping up, thanks so much, Mark. Really exciting to hear kind of the nascent town forest project that Seth here is potentially pursuing, and exciting to hear too the engagement from the Conservation Commission, which I understand is a little bit newer in the community. So great to hear that.